I'm Mike Sully. I'm one of the 2 co-founders of Coin Crew Games.
And I'm Wyatt Bushnell. I'm one of the 2 co-founders of Coin Crew Games.
Okay, what does it feel like to be here at Summer Games Fest with a sequel to your original game I was interviewing you a few years ago?
It's amazing. It's the coolest thing because we got our start here at Summer Games Fest. That was our first industry event, and so now to be back feels incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really shocked at kind of the outpouring of support for the sequel. Everybody's just so stoked and hyped for it, which I was like, not our game, are you sure? And I'm really enchanted with sort of the ways in which we've been able to kind of elevate Escape Academy 2 from the base game, so I'm really excited for people to give it a whirl.
What was it like waking up and seeing, seeing that release date a couple of weeks go by, and you're like, wait a minute, we were actually making money, and people want to actually do a sequel, I want to see more of it. What was that like for you guys as indie game devs?
I mean, it's the most amazing feeling because you're working on the game for the first one about 2 years or maybe even a little longer, and then one day it's out and people know about it, and it's like the coolest thing to go from, this thing that only us devs know about, to hear get a message from somebody who enjoyed it, especially people who like real world escape rooms, and it makes me want to keep making games.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one thing about the sequel that I'm so thrilled about, is that we do have this fan base and we have these players who really care about the game and who are telling us sort of what did they really like, what did they want more of, what parts do they think could be improved in the sequel. And the fan response and our playtesters have been so valuable in just helping form the shape and the vision of the game. So I'm really thankful for that.
Speaking to that, what was your biggest takeaway from the original game that you brought with you and improved on the sequel?
More Academy at Escape Academy. In the first game, you would go from escape room to escape room, and you would have kind of a level select menu. But in the sequel, you actually get to explore the Academy and discover escape rooms, and so the entire school is one big escape room. And that's something that we're really excited to bring out, because honestly, when we built the first game, it was our first digital title, and I don't even think we had the chops to do that. And so it feels like we've really leveled up.
Yeah, I like to say the first game was 95% Escape, 5% Academy, and this one feels like 50% Escape, 50% Academy, which just feels really nice. It's the play pattern of the first game, it was escape room to timer escape room, timer escape room, timer escape room. In this one, it feels like timer escape room, explore and vibe out, then timer escape room. It's the escape rooms in this one feel more like boss battles, and the whole Academy slice of life feels more the meat and potatoes of the game.
I feel like in your first game, you guys are heads down just doing it, and it's got to get out, we have to get it done. So ideas are cheap, and you can easily get out of control in terms of scale and scope, but you guys did it, and then you were able to improve upon the next game, which was add more Academy.
Yeah. I think we're still, pretty heads down in the development. It's early on in the process, and so it's cool because we're playtesting with our Discord community, which is so helpful. So if anybody's a fan of the first game and wants to get a sneak peek and playtest some of these rooms, that's so helpful because you can't play your own puzzle. You know the answer, and so we're always having our community try the puzzles, and we use that to balance them and kind of come up with new ideas.
Can you take us through the puzzle creation process, and how do you realize a puzzle is too easy or too hard without that community feedback?
It's basically impossible. So, I would say, our playtesting process really helps us determine, basically every puzzle in the game, because sometimes we'll put a puzzle in front of players, and the way they're trying to solve it, it's oh, that's a better puzzle. And so seeing that actually really informs what the end result puzzles are. And so I don't know if we could make this game without playtesters, frankly. It's just so baked into our process. It's so, important to make sure the game, flows in the way that we want it to. So, yeah.
You guys do just private playtesting on Discord, or do you have, early access?
Right now we just do private playtesting on Discord. As we get closer to the release, who knows what we may do, but we do sign-up sheets and we call for playtesters pretty regularly. So if it's something that people are interested in, I hope they can check it out.
I say it's pretty rare where you could just join a Discord and talk to the dev direct and be like, I'd love to test your puzzles, and you guys are like, sure. or no, or we're full, or next week or whatever. That's kind of a cool process.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. It's where it feels like we're like always just asking people to play. And so like even like doing the announce was so cool because it's like our Discord community grew like 25% overnight. And it was just like, now we have a whole new batch of playtesters to like test the game on. And like a lot of those insights have just been really helpful.
What does having a successful game that leading into its sequel and having more of a budget open up for you guys creatively?
I think in the first game, we had all these ideas, like big ideas, and we're like, well, that's cool, but no, there's no chance. And so when we knew we wanted to do a sequel, we went back to that list, and we also went to like the Steam reviews and kind of spent maybe a couple weeks just compiling, like what are some of like the dream things, and just being like, all right, that one's still unreasonable, but this one, oh, okay, we can add a little of this. And one that I'm pretty excited about is dialogue with other students. In the first game, there wasn't really many other students to interact with, and this time we were able to like fill up the whole campus with lots of NPCs, and it just adds this whole new like fun dimension to the game.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like I feel like the team was pretty green on the first game. We have a lot of the same people contributing, and it's like everybody knows Escape Academy 1 on the team. We just feel leveled up in terms of being a dev. So it's like, if you pitched me like Wyatt make an open world escape room game for the first one, I'd be like, what? Are you like crazy? What are you talking about? But this one really feels achievable. It also has just been really nice to see. It's like, it's hard to make escape rooms, and so giving the people who are designing the escape rooms a break to maybe flesh out this world and flesh out the campus, it just feels like a very synergistic sort of situation.
The equivalent of like stepping away from a math problem and coming back 10 minutes later, right?
Yeah, totally. And because not all of the game is timed anymore, that also opens up the options to do some puzzles that are, maybe harder, like, a player might try it and go, I'm kind of stumped, I'm going to come back to this later, which isn't like a play pattern you can have in a traditional escape room. Everything needs to be solved, otherwise the clock's going to run out. So there's a whole new category of style of puzzles we can add to this too, and that's been fun, because also, like going back to last time, we have a backlog of like, this is a sick puzzle, it doesn't really fit in any of the rooms, and now we're like, we have a place for this really clever thing we came up with. That's a nice feeling.
It definitely feels like we're going to be able to go way bigger, because I think more puzzles got cut from the base game than made it into the base game, and now we have this whole big campus to put puzzles that may have not fit into rooms before.
What advice would you give to an indie dev that's maybe making their first game or trying to get the attention of a publisher? Because you guys were doing that originally and you got published, and now you were successful enough to make a sequel. What advice would you give to someone just starting out in the indie space?
I would say two things. I would say, like, number one, build something that, like, you feel like really doesn't exist in, like, a very fundamental way. And I think get really familiar with your, like, if you want to make a game, get really familiar with that market and, like, where are the gaps in that market. I think games succeed on novelty and, like, what players haven't experienced before. I think it's very, like, I always say it's like every game you play is a tutorial for the next game you play, and I think what gamers really like is that novelty. So I think I'd like get very familiar with a genre, like your genre, and figure out where there are gaps in that genre. And final thing, sorry. Really build out a network of indie developers that you can talk to about, like, every problem has been solved before. And so your network and your community of, like, peers is critical for your success.
When does your game come out, and what platforms are you aiming for at launch?
We're announced on Steam and Epic Game Store, and we're announced for 2026. No date on that yet.
Now, there's a new console just came out. Boy, this thing would be so cool on Nintendo Switch too.
Yeah, I see what you're trying to do. Yeah, no.
Any plans for Nintendo Switch 2?
Nothing announced. Yeah.
Where can they go to find out more about your game, or where can they go to ask to play test your puzzles?
Oh yeah, you can wishlist us today on Steam, Escape Academy 2, Back to School, and follow us on What's the best way to get to our Discord?
I think we have like a link tree,
Oh,
but
yes.
if you go on our Twitter or Blue Sky or Instagram, there's like
Pages on your Steam page too.
Yeah. Coin Crew Games.
Sorry, we should really have a better answer for that. What?